Got a little hairy at the end again, but Sabres stay hot, 13 out of 14. A win over the Ducks, recapping it coming up on the Locked On Sabres podcast.
You're Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into this Saturday night edition of the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Although I do understand if we're not your first listen on Sunday morning with Bills and Jaguars, maybe your first listen will be me on WGR for all I know. But thanks every day for tuning in here on the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. You could listen to our show wherever you get your podcast. You can watch our show as well on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button if you do. You want to become a part of our Locked On Sabres Everydayer Club. Maybe you've been, if you're in Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, and you see that little button in the top that says Everydayer Club, ad-free versions of the show, and you're wondering what that's all about, head over to LockedOnSabres.supercast.com. You get that. You get X-Store Discord and plenty of other features as well. Sneaky Joe DiBiase, today's episode presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. So FanDuel wildcard round, still got a couple more days left. Playoff mode. Visit FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. The Sabres win 5-3 over the Anaheim Ducks. Sneaky Joe DiBiase here to recap it for you. Go through all the things we saw in this game, good and bad. And there was a lot of good. And for 55 minutes, it was mostly good. But here again, there have been a couple of these games as of late. Of course, the game in New Jersey the other day and also against Vancouver. Really, it is 3 games in a row. The Sabres have looked great. And then third period, what's happening? But they've gotten away with a win in all 3 of them. Lindy Ruff sounded hot about it, so we'll touch on that coming up a little bit later on in today's show. But it was a great night. I'm wearing my Max Finnegan jersey. Typically, if you see me wearing a jersey on the show, I went to the game and came right from it. So I was in the building, and it was top-notch atmosphere. One of the more fun games that I've been to in a long, long time. Like, it's on the list, of course. There have been maybe a couple of other ones. But this was a packed house. This was a sellout, and not a sellout where, the Sabres announce a sellout crowd. And it's really more all the tickets got sold, or even maybe they gave away some of the tickets so they can announce it as a sellout. Like, this was every seat in the building was basically full. Everybody was there. Everybody was into it. Playoff-ish atmosphere. Again, it's been a long time since I've heard a playoff atmosphere. So I could hopefully tell you in April whether that's still the case, whether that is comparable. But it was loud. There was a lot of cheering on plays that weren't even goal plays. There was a lot of booing when refs were doing dumb things, or, there were certain plays that fans didn't like during the intermissions as well. The wave got rolling in the 300 level at one point. There was just a lot of atmosphere and a lot of buzz in this building. And if you went to the Vancouver game on Tuesday, maybe got a little bit of that, but you get this game on a Saturday night. Saturday night, everybody's out. It's a little warmer out, although there's been some rain. And it was just a great night to be in the building and to be in the arena. I was very, very glad that I went. And you get the win on top of it. You got a fight in this game. Josh Doan feeding Ryan Strome rights on their way to the ground. In a game where for 55 minutes, the Sabres looked great. They looked absolutely phenomenal. They looked like the team that we've seen over the last 14 games, which now extends just a little bit over a month. The Sabres have been looking this good. And in this game, kind of like, some of the recent games as well, they got started really early, and it's been different heroes on a night-to-night basis. Like, offensively, last game against the Rangers, it's Matthias Samuelsson who ends up being the hero in that one. Against the Vancouver Canucks, the Sabres winning that game. And, it's a little bit, it's a Tuck McLeod combination I kind of want to give it to. When you go back to the Dallas game on the road, Tage Thompson was the hero in that game. This one, well, you got Jack Quinn showing up. Quinn with 2 goals on the night, opening the scoring and then getting the game winner a little bit later on. The opening goal, right out of the first 2 minutes, it's a great shift by McLeod, Benson, and Quinn. I've liked that line. I think that McLeod and Benson really do the best job in the entire, roster at limiting what Quinn's weaknesses are. And I think in this game, you saw the strengths of Jack Quinn. He is supposed to be a goal scorer, a finisher, a shooter. He's a bit streaky, and, there are goal scorers like that in the league, and he's certainly that. So he's going to have games like this, and he's going to have games where he disappears. But luckily tonight we got the game where he showed up. That first goal, great feed across from Ryan McLeod, and Quinn against Lucas Dostal goes backhand to forehand, just has just enough space, but it was a tough finish. I mean, he's in close, but he's not right out in front. He's a little bit off the side on the right, and he's got to lift this over the shoulder and really get it between the post and Dostal, and he does. Roofs it, and it's a great goal by Jack Quinn. That was his 8th of the year at that point. Sabres played great, I thought, rest of the first period. I thought the last minute of the first period, they kind of got hemmed up in their own end, but they got through it. Blocking shots, that was a theme of this night, too. I mean, that was really a theme throughout the entirety of the game. The Sabres laying out in front of shots. So they leave that period 1-0. I felt they played pretty good. Most of the numbers were pretty even, although they did outshoot the Ducks in the first period, 12-7. And a lot of their other numbers looked better. They were up 1-0. Shot attempts were even. Sabres looked really, really good. They almost were up 2-0. Zach Benson on his penalty shot. I wasn't really confident in Benson when he lined up at center ice. He's just not a finisher. We know that about him. Like, that's maybe one of his weaknesses. But I thought, well, he's not going to shoot here. He's going to stick handle. And I can trust him to do that. So let's see. And then Benson, who I thought expertly waited. He's waiting, and he's stick handle. He kicks the leg up at one point, and he waits for Dostal to throw the stick out. And just when he does, he pulls it to the backhand, and I thought he had him. I was actually on across from the Sabres bench. So I'm on the right side of the ice in relation to where Benson was shooting. So from my angle, I thought he had him dead to rights. And he did. He just didn't get around his enough body weight around the backhand to finish by a hair. I mean, he gets it up over the pad, but he hits the bar perfectly. Tough one, right? Because he was really good on that penalty shot. And it could have been 2-0, but whatever. They leave the period 1-0. Second period, a lot happened. So start with maybe the bad and then get some of the good. The bad in the beginning of that second period was the 5-on-3. The Sabres get the benefit of 2 penalties called against Anaheim in the first 2 minutes of that second period. Both penalties against Tage Thompson, by the way. Tage drew both of them. So they go to the 5-on-3, and they had over a minute of 5-on-3 time. And they got some opportunities. They were all one-timers. They were all shots from either the side or the top. They got a Tage one-timer, weirdly, from his offside. Not his offside, his onside, I guess. The opposite side of where he typically stands on the right. So, they got some big shots, but what I didn't like about the 5-on-3 is I think when you're at a 5-on-3 and the other team is so disadvantaged, the right move, or at least even something to try. I mean, they had over a minute of time, and they never even tried this. Work the puck low. Get the puck low and force the Ducks to collapse around their own net, because that's usually what's going to happen. When you're passing the puck around from the wall to the point to the other wall, back to the point, they're able to spread out a little bit, as any penalty kill is, whether it's 5-on-4 or 5-on-3. When you get the puck low, you're forcing defensemen to go down on one knee. You're forcing that top forward that's penalty killing to drop down lower. And then you're either doing one of two things. You're trying to throw the puck across the ice and forcing the goalie to make an incredible save that his defenseman usually can't make an impact on. Or you're throwing it back to the point from a one-timer from there, because now that top guy is so low that you're in closer and you're getting a better scoring opportunity. And the Sabres never went to that. They never even tried it. And that was my big problem with the 5-on-3. And maybe they should be doing that on the power play overall more. I thought the mistake there was that Benson wasn't out there and Doan was. I thought for a 5-on-3, That's Benson's role. He is the guy that's going to read the ice well and put the puck there. Nothing against Doan. Doan's a great player, and everybody's very happy with him. He's done a great job. He got another assist tonight, got the fight. But puck movement and decision-making and playmaking on that 5-on-3 is not really what I want from him. And Zucker is the guy that's standing in front of the net. So that occupation, that role is kind of already taken. So I would have liked to seen Benson out there instead of Doan. I don't think it was coincidence that right after that 5-on-3 ended, you saw Benson come out with the second unit, and he set up two really nice opportunities. I liked him on the number one unit earlier in the season. I would like to see him get back on there. The other tweet I had and message in Discord that I wanted to pass along here on the show is after that power play ends, they call, I thought, a makeup penalty on the Sabres. I did not think Matthias Samuelsson's penalty was boarding. He definitely threw him into the boards, but typically they don't call that unless you hit him from behind. And Samuelsson, to me, looked like he got him from the side, Jackson Lacombe. But whatever they call the penalty. More opportunities and almost another goal. Ryan McLeod and Alex Tuch, they had two amazing opportunities on the PK, one of which I thought for sure Tuch scored on, where McLeod throws it backdoor as Tuch's charging the net, and somehow Dostal got over to make the save. Tuch then crashes into the boards, and I thought his ankle was broken the way he got up and wasn't putting weight on it, but it was a skate blade. So I thought after that penalty kill, man, it really is true. The Sabres are more dangerous at 4-on-5 than they are at 5-on-3. They just as many, if not more, opportunities. And it's McLeod and Tuch always when they're getting them, but those two were awesome. And then finally, you get a little past the midway point, and there's Tage, 22nd of the year. What I mentioned, I didn't want to, really come off too hard on Doan for being on the power play because he had a great night. The assists he has, that's the most deserved secondary assist ever. He is charging back in the offensive zone, stick lifts, and it's an all-effort play by Doan to steal the puck and then quickly get it to Krebs so that they can create a scoring opportunity off of it. That is the play that they traded for. Josh Doan, that is exactly what you want from him. That's exactly what you trust him to give you. And that's why the difference between a Josh Doan and a JJ Peterka is when Peterka's not scoring, he's not doing a lot for you. I typically like to defend players like that because I still think they have an incredible amount of value. However, Doan, we know about him from watching him through this half a season, that he's the type of player that even when he's not on offensively, he is going to give you great, valuable play in other areas. And here, you got to play like that. That actually did turn into offense. The whip around to Krebs, and then Krebs comes down. Tage is at the back door, opens up his stance, gets ready to tap it in. And credit to Krebs, I don't think he should be on that top line at all. But you got to give him credit where credit's due. That was a really nice feed right on the tape, exactly where it was supposed to be, and it got them the goal. Krebs had 2 assists, by the way, on the night, so a couple more points for him. He's up to 13 on the season. The other one he had, we get to the third period, and it's 2-0, get to the 3-0 goal. Another one by Bo Byram. What a find by Tage right out in the slot. Byram up to 10 on the season. He might get to 20 at this pace. Then the final 5 minutes, and I want to save that for the next segment because I want to know if we got a real big problem here. And then we'll go around the league. That when we come back on Locked On Sabres. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Wildcard round tomorrow and Monday. FanDuel's officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel's giving customers even more ways to get on in the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, packs are loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to bets that you like the most. The boosts give you more juice on the bets that you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Open that profit boost pack first thing on game day, see what the boost that you want is and what to apply to. So make your picks, apply your profit boost, even bigger payouts. Visit FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Sneaky Joe DiBiase back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. 5-3 Sabres are now 14-5-2 at home, by the way, on the year. Do we have a problem with them late in games? 3 games in a row where they've really let teams back in it in the third period. You had the Vancouver game where the Sabres were leading 4-0 and let the game get to 4-3. They close it with a Josh Doan empty netter in that one. We go to Madison Square Garden. The Sabres don't have a 4-0 lead. They had a 3-1 lead, give up the lead immediately, get blitzkrieg for the next 15 minutes, and then take a 4-minute penalty that Matthias Samuelsson bails them out on. Could have easily lost that one. Got away with it. Ryan McLeod ends it with the empty netter. Anaheim. The Sabres are up 3-0, then 4-1. And you get the game to 4-3. You let the game get to 4-3 with less than a minute to go. You could have lost that one. What if the Ducks win a draw and a shot goes off a leg and it's in, and bam, you've let them tie the hockey game? That could happen very easily. If you look at the last 5 minutes, when the Sabres had a 3-0 lead, if I told you Anaheim will score 3 more times in this game, you would be losing your mind. Luckily, Jack Quinn had that goal, which I didn't think was as important. Nobody did at the time that it went in. By the way, great shot by Jack Quinn, right? Stops, lets all the defenders kind of blow past him because they were charging to get back, and they totally overcommitted. Quinn read it, stopped, fired it, bar in. Great goal by him. That goal ended up being critical because if he doesn't get it and you continue to play the way you did in the final minutes, tie hockey game, you're going to overtime, and who knows what's going to happen. What is happening late in these games? I have thought that the Vancouver game was more a couple of bad bounces than anything. I thought the New York game was more about effort, which is funny because that's the lead, the smallest lead that they almost blew. But I thought they played really bad in that third period. I mean, the desperation was there, and that is one area I want to give them some credit for, because I do think the reason they're not totally imploding and totally losing these leads, only almost losing those leads, is you've got guys that are laying in front of shots, that are playing desperate, taking guys out in front of the net. Like, the effort, I think, actually largely is there. My biggest problem, and I was looking for it again in this Anaheim game, I think what is getting them in trouble and why they are letting teams back in it is it's either a mentality thing or it's a coaching strategy thing. I don't know what the source of this is, but what I'm seeing is the difference between the first 2 periods and the third period lately is in the first 2 periods, the Sabres as an overall defensive unit, one defensive organism, what they are as a team, what makes them, I think, good in that department is their speed. They are all very good skaters, and I think they're getting to see more and more battling on the walls as well that is helping. But everybody on the Sabres roster, except for Jordan Greenway, is a fast skater. Samuelsson, I think I would not want to call a fast skater. He's been great this year, but I wouldn't call him a fast skater. So maybe Samuelsson and Greenway, and that's it. The team speed, look at Ryan McLeod. Look at Alex Tuck. Look at, Doan. Look at Benson's faster this year. Look at Tage. Look at Krebs defensively. Krebs is super fast. Everybody is. Ostlund is one of their better defensive players. He's getting penalty kill minutes now. He's a great skater. They put pressure on you like crazy. You can't breathe with this team because everyone is fast and everyone can skate. And that makes it really tough on other teams. And then, you add in the physicality and you add in everything else, the responsibility, and you have a really good, dangerous team. When they click into third period mode, what I'm noticing, there was one play, actually, this would have been the Leo Carlson goal or the McTavish goal. I'm actually forgetting which one. But there was a play that ended up in a goal. Actually, it would have been the McTavish goal because this is the one that goes off Rasmus Dahlin's stick. The Sabres had 3 players all in a line. Dahlin on one side, Samuelsson on the other, and Tuck in the middle. all three are backwards skating, backing up, letting the Ducks come at them. And they're all in position. They are all between the player, the forward and the goaltender. But that's very different than, to me, what they do in the first two periods. Alex Tuch is one of your better skaters and better defensive players. I don't want him standing in position in the middle between those two defensemen. I want him going after that guy. I want him attacking and causing turnovers, not packing in. Packing in allows the other team to come at you and get opportunities. And that's how, everyone's in position from what they were trying to do, but you get a dumb bounce, it goes off the stick and it's in the net. Maybe if Tuch attacks him at the blue line, it's offsides. Or maybe they get the puck back themselves and they can possess it. But too much standing, and even if it's in position, I don't like that. I think you're a good skating team. Go after these teams. Even if it's the third period and you're up 4-2, do it. Don't pack in. And I think that is maybe a common theme that I'm seeing through these three games. I think the goals have been different, but I think that mentality has started to bleed into their late game management a little bit. Whether that, again, is the players kind of doing that subconsciously or whether it's Lindy. I don't know if it's Lindy, because Lindy was hot about it after the game. If somebody from out of market, if a Ducks fan went to this game and doesn't really follow the Sabres and they turned on the postgame show on WGR when they were driving from the arena, they might have tuned in and heard Lindy Ruff's press conference and go, what is this dude so upset about? They've won 13 of 14. And Lindy wasn't upset other than the one question about the ends of games, but he was hot about it. He did not like their effort at the end of this game. He did call out their ability or their play lately in the last 5 minutes of games. I mean, he called it flat out unacceptable that they play like this, and that if they continue along this path, it's going to cost them games. So he went after him a little bit about it. So I'm sure Lindy will definitely be pushing the right buttons, know that that's a problem, and not kind of, we won, so it's okay. We don't want to change anything. No, even though it's within a win, look at a piece of your game that isn't working and fix it. And I think Lindy is going to really try to do that. I saw the clip, by the way. I was at the game, but I saw the clip of him really coaching up Tage on the bench. So everything, I think, should end up being okay there. I can't imagine they're going to allow 3 goals at a time like this over and over late in games. But it's certainly something to watch going forward. All right, when we come back, what happened around the league? Standings starting to look better and better. And there's a new way I kind of want to look at the standings more than we have been, because I think it's usually what's the gap between you and the first team out. I want to go beyond the first team out right now and look at teams the Sabres are really stretching the lead on, because this was a very packed East and it's starting to separate a little bit, and the Sabres are on the higher end of that. When we come back, we'll have that on Locked On Sabres. Back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast, Sabres win 5-3 over the Anaheim Ducks, 24-15-4 on the year. That is good for 52 points. That is the number 1 wild card team in the Eastern playoffs at the moment. The Montreal Canadiens, 3rd spot in the Atlantic, they lost. They played Detroit, so somebody was winning that game in the Atlantic. Detroit did. Montreal 56 points in 45 games. Buffalo 52 points in 43 games. So I did look ahead a little bit, and if you're excited about 0506 night on Thursday for the alumni coming back, that's great. The other thing that it could mean for the Buffalo Sabres is a possible leapfrogging of Montreal. However, they do play 2 more games in between, so they'll be a little bit tired, probably. The Sabres also play 2 games, by the way, in the in-between. So 2 games in hand, you won't make those up. They will need to win 2, have Montreal win 1, or win 1, have Montreal win 0, so on and so forth. So we'll look at that. We'll track that. But they could jump Montreal this week. And with the game head-to-head at home, hoping they're going to be able to do that. So 4 points back of the Canadiens at the moment, 5 back of Tampa, 6 back of Detroit. They do have 3 games in hand on the Red Wings. Tied with Washington in the standings at the moment. Washington plays tomorrow. We'll get to that in a moment. Pittsburgh lost tonight. Good news. The Penguins losing to the Calgary Flames at home. Thank you, Calgary. Finally, they've been playing all these teams out east and been winning it all. Finally, they get one. They beat the Penguins in regulation. Colorado beats Columbus in regulation, so that's a good West versus East. Now, Toronto shut out and blew out the Vancouver Canucks, so you don't love that. 5-0 there. Detroit beat Montreal, as we mentioned. Panthers over Ottawa in regulation. Tampa over Philly in regulation. The Sabres are tied in points percentage with the Flyers. What else? Islanders over Wild. That was the other bad one. So you look at it right now, and what I see is, sure, the difference between the Sabres and the first team out is still only 1 point. Not a big lead. But look what they're starting to do, separating themselves from teams at the bottom. Because before it was, oh, they're only up by 1 point, and I got 8 teams that are all nipping at their heels. There was a point where Columbus was in last, and they were like 4 points out of the playoffs. Now, I'm seeing some teams start to fall and show themselves as non-threats. Columbus, even though they beat the Sabres, they're one of these teams. They've lost 3 in a row. And at the moment, they are 9 points back of the Buffalo Sabres. They're beginning to entrench themselves as a team that we're going to put under the category of don't have to worry about. Columbus. Ottawa, the team I picked to win the Atlantic Division this year. This drama with Linus Ullmark. What's true, what isn't true. The GM with this weirdly strong statement that felt very defensive. They've lost 4 in a row. They can't get saves. They're getting James Reimer in to try to save the day because they're so desperate in goal. Ottawa is now 45 points, which is 7 points back of the Buffalo Sabres. Can't have that. If you're Ottawa, of course. Love it for the Sabres' sake. So you're separating from them, putting them at the moment until they get show me they can get saves. Non-threat category. New York Rangers lost again tonight. They lost the Sabres the other night. They lost and gave up 10. They let Boston score 10 goals on them in this game. 10-2 was the final. How brutal. The Rangers under the category. Team I don't think we have to worry about. Sabres gap against the Rangers. Sabres are 6 points up on New York and have 3 games in hand. I mean, by points percentage, they're a full 10, over 10% higher. The Rangers, not a team you have to worry about. Maybe New Jersey. I like New Jersey's talent, and I still feel like, they might be coming at some point. But they have the worst goal differential in hockey. They've lost 3 in a row. The Sabres have a 6-point lead on the Devils with a game in hand. I want to softly maybe in pencil, put them under teams we don't have to worry about. I'm not all the way there yet. I think the Devils could go on a run, but I think a couple weeks ago, we looked at the East playoff picture, and everybody was in it. Everybody was a threat, and you had to look at everybody. Now, one by one, Columbus, cross them off, for now. Ottawa, cross them off. Rangers, cross them off. Maybe the Devils. We're getting there more and more. So I think that's the good news, is the teams you have to stay ahead of that are going to be tough to stay ahead of. One by one, they're starting to go away. At the moment, they're 3 up on Florida, 2 up on Boston, 1 up on Toronto. Toronto keeps winning. Very quickly, before we wrap things up, what do you want to root for tomorrow? Out of town scoreboard, maybe you're watching football. You're not going to be watching these games super closely. Devils in Winnipeg play at 2:00. So obviously, you'll be rooting for the Jets in that one. Penguins, Bruins at 5. You probably just hope for that one not to go to overtime. Capitals, Predators go Nashville at 7. Mammoth and Columbus at 7. I don't know if we have to worry about it. Columbus in dead last. But sure, let's root for Utah. There you go. That's what you're rooting for on Sunday. That'll do it for us today here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. If you want your best Bills previews, go to Locked On Bills. Check it out with Joe Marino. Thorough, in-depth. Check it out. Previewing the Jags game on Sunday. We will talk to you after, we'll talk to you after Bills and Jags, I guess. We'll talk to you on Monday. Here in the Locked On Sabres podcast, check out our Discord. Ad-free version of this show. Get into our Everydayers Club, LockedOnSabres.everydayer. LockedOnSabres.supercast.com to sign up. Talk to you Monday here on the Locked On Sabres podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network.